right, so in this video, I'm going to show you guys 5 things to do to basically develop your ability to improvise fluidly. And the reason I think this is important is because it didn't just happen. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just started playing. And I would say other drummers, it's the same thing. People don't just start doing it. It takes practice in developing that systematically. So I'm going to go through what those things are. If you dig videos like this, please like, subscribe, and check out my book, Tactical Drumming Groove Survival Guide. I'll put a link for it in the description. Okay, so here we go. So talking about improvisation. So the first part, step 1, is actually knowing what the core groove or core rhythm is that you're using. And this is important, right, depending on the style that you're going to play. So, for example, if I'm playing a rock type groove, then the core rhythm is 8th or 16th notes, right? So this rhythm right here, or this rhythm right here. Just like if I'm playing a swing groove, the core rhythm is actually this shuffle or swing feel, which is actually triplet. Right? So getting that feel. So in both cases, whatever it is I'm doing, I'm going to make sure that I know what that core rhythm is. So in rock stuff, 8th and 16th note fills are going to be my go-to, right? So just playing that on a snare. The same thing is true with my triplets or my swing feel. If I got something that's triplet bass, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, there's going to be this triplet feel that goes along with it because that fits in the style. All right, the second thing I'm always going to do, so that's number 1. Second is going to be a focus on time. I need to, no matter what happens, and I would say when I was a younger player, this was the thing that gave me the hardest time because I was playing in some like high school jazz bands and playing with a rock band on the side and a death metal band and doing all sorts of stuff, right? But the thing that was always a challenge was, especially as a younger player, is making sure that time is consistent. This is where playing with a metronome or like playing with some tracks really can help. But where is time coming from? And so no matter what style I'm playing in, you should always be able to feel time. So if I'm playing a swing solo, right, my hi-hat was actually going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Right, my hi-hat's always there. A lot of times when I'm playing 16th or 8th note solos, right, for a rock, I might keep quarter notes in the hi-hat, or I might keep 8th notes. So actually practicing, especially this development of independence with the left hand, can be very useful. Now, this can be a little bit more advanced, right? As especially like intermediate advanced playing stuff where you're playing some sort of nutty thing and your left foot keeps going. But on the basic level, practicing things where, say, I'm taking the core rhythm, right? 1 and so 8th notes in this case, playing quarter notes, play match with my right hand, 1, 2. Now add the left hand, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. If I'm playing something triplet bass, say I want that tune 4 like in a jazz thing, 1, 2, 3, 4. So on my right hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm gonna play those triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. The most important thing is realizing where that happens. And even though that might seem difficult at first, if you keep doing that, you will always get that sense of time. This does take a good deal of practice, but something that will be very important. Number 3, accents, all right? Now, a lot of people will ask me in my videos, hey, how did you play that fill at the beginning? How did you play that lick? Hey, can you show us a video on this one thing? And yes, I will get to some of those. But honestly, the core of almost every fill that I'm doing is accents. Accents is the essence. It's the part of drumming that makes it musical, right? So the way I like to do this is I create exercises based on that core rhythm and keeping time that are going to help me to understand that. Let me show you an example. So if I'm playing a bar of 16th notes, right, I feel time there. I got my quarter note going. Now, what I might do is add some accents in there. I'm going to go 1E and I'm going to go 1E and So I'm going to go I'm just going to add that in there against the quarter note, right? While I'm still playing those 16ths. So by itself, it's 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E. So just going 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a. Now I'm going to play that against a hi-hat. 2, here we go, and 1 E. Now put it maybe on the toms to add the accents, give it a little variety. So 2, here we go. Now the idea here is obviously this is from kind of a basic perspective, but I can mix those accents up 1,000 ways. I can play just off the right. I can play left accents. I can play double accents. But the idea is those variety of accents create a whole myriad of possibilities, right? If I'm playing my quarter notes here, I'll just improvise a little bit. I'll do ones off a right hand, then left hand, and those double. 2, 3, and you can hear very quickly, there's a whole bunch of possibilities. And so what you're going to do is just experiment with those accents in the different types of styles with the rhythmic core. Number 4 is adding the bass drum. You'll notice I have not even added the bass drums. You can get through a lot of fills without adding the bass drums. So one of the things that will make you sound like a pro, sound professional, is basically adding the bass drum into your fills, right? It adds a little bit more to the accent, and you can do linear stuff. Right? You can kind of get creative with it. So what I mean, the best way to start the bass drum, honestly, is to add accents in there. So if we take that same pattern we just did, just put the bass drum on it. Maybe do that with cymbals. But the bass drum can add some variety. The other thing is to implement the bass drum in there separately as a linear thing, right? So adding like this pattern, giving the bass drum its own voice creates a little bit of variety in the fill. Right? It adds another part, right? And you're probably familiar with this, the RLK lick, RLK, RLK. You see it everywhere, right? This. That lick right there is the same principle. It's just adding the bass drum into the fill and putting it in context. All right, and the last thing, and this would actually say, this is the part where I say fills get a lot of fun. They become extremely fun. And that is embellishing or adding extra things into the fills. This could be, I would say diddles is probably the thing I personally add the most, but it could also be flams and drags, right? Adding hybrid rudiments. And I want to call this 3 things. Yes, it's embellishing the groove or embellishing the rhythms, but it's also vocabulary. This is not something you're just going to do. This is something where you've got to sit down and honestly practice the heck out of some rudiments, right? This could be playing paradiddles, right? Just and getting them up to a much greater speed. All right, or it could be something like playing rolls. I love 5-stroke rolls, right? Back and forth, or 6 strokes, or whatever rudiment it is. And I have a whole series of videos on rudiments, but using rudiments to basically beef up your groove. So now when you put the accent in there with the toms and the bass drum and you've got that core pattern, that little extras are what make it sound much more elevated and allow me to improvise in a totally different way. I'll play a little bit of that for you. So I'll get the quarter note going, start a 16th note pattern, add some accents, and then start to embellish that. So here we go. So I know that's not really like a basic concept, but basically all I'm doing is adding diddles. And the more you know those patterns and learn those patterns, like if I took a very simple hand-to-hand kind of 16th note pattern and I added diddles underneath that, makes a kind of a cool fill. And basically expanding that way. All right, I'm going to kind of build off of this one more time. I'll start with basic rhythm, add the time and the hi-hat, mess with the accents, maybe add a little bit of bass and toms, and then embellish to kind of lead us out. So here we go.